The NBA is a global league. More than 43 countries have produced an NBA player, and nearly 12,000 players have been drafted. Yet from a nation of 1.4 billion people to 17.3% of the planet's population, only one man ever made it to the NBA. His name is Satnam Singh. And his story is one of the most unlikely journeys in basketball history. India, a country where cricket dominates every street, where sports like wrestling and field hockey hold deep cultural roots, has never been a breeding ground for basketball talent. There were no NBA academies, no professional leagues, and no system to nurture players. For decades, the dream of an Indian NBA player seemed impossible. But Satnam Singh, a farm boy from a village of just 8,000 people, would change that. Satnam grew up on a farm, destined to inherit the family's livelihood. School wasn't a long-term path for him. By the time he was 10, he had already left the classroom to help with farm chores. Basketball wasn't even on the radar. In fact, he didn't even know the sport existed. But Satnam wasn't ordinary. At 10 years old, he stood 6'6". His father measured 7'2", and his grandmother nearly 6. With his towering height, neighbors constantly urged his family to introduce him to basketball. And when a newspaper announced the opening of a basketball academy nearby, recruiting anyone taller than 6 feet, his father pushed him to give it a try. At first, Satnam thought he was joining volleyball, but the moment he touched a basketball, everything changed. His size, natural coordination, and raw power were undeniable. Within months, his coaches realized this wasn't just another tall kid. Satnam Singh was born to play basketball at 10. He made the bold decision to leave home and train full-time at one of India's few basketball academies. But the facilities were poor, leaking roofs, unbearable heat, and limited equipment. Worse, opportunities in India were virtually non-existent. There were no college scholarships, no professional path, certainly no dream of the NBA. Still, Satnam trained, driven by something bigger than himself. In 2010, fate intervened. The NBA had just launched an initiative to grow the sport in India, appointing Troy Justice as its director of basketball operations. Justice traveled to the Ludhiana Academy, where he first met Satnam. Standing at 14 years old and already a giant, Satnam's presence stunned him. There was one problem, though: shoes. Satnam wore a size 19, impossible to find in India. For years, he had been forced to play in slippers, unable to run properly. Justice quickly arranged for proper basketball shoes from the US. That simple act unlocked Satnam's potential. With support, he blossomed, even leading Punjab's youth team to a national championship. Word of his talent spread. IMG Academy in Florida, one of America's premier training schools, saw an opportunity. Known for molding raw prospects like Zach Edey into NBA-caliber athletes, IMG offered Satnam a scholarship. With the blessing of his family, Satnam took an 8,000-mile leap of faith to chase an impossible dream. Arriving in the U.S., Satnam faced enormous cultural and personal challenges. He spoke almost no English, isolating him from teammates and classmates. Training was grueling, and instead of playing games, he spent most of his time in the weight room. Confidence wavered. Layups that once felt effortless now felt clumsy. But Satnam refused to quit. Slowly, he learned English, built relationships, and earned respect. He became known for his work ethic, his humility, and his willingness to take tough coaching. He praised his raw tools: strength, touch around the basket, vision as a passer, and a rapidly developing jump shot. Internationally, he was making waves. By 15, he was representing India's senior national team, the youngest player in their history. Against grown men, he held his own. Scouts in the U.S. began to notice. Arizona, Kentucky, Michigan State, and Purdue all expressed interest. The plan was simple: play Division I college basketball, develop against elite competition, and one day reach the NBA. But the dream collapsed. Despite his progress with English, Satnam failed to meet the NCAA's strict academic requirements. He was declared ineligible. With college off the table, his options narrowed. He could play junior college ball or go overseas, both seen as massive steps backward. That's when his agent, Travis King, proposed a bold alternative: declare for the 2015 NBA draft. it was a long shot. The NBA hadn't drafted a high school player in years, but Satnam was 19, eligible, and unique. His agent believed his size and potential could intrigue teams. Against all odds, Satnam agreed. On June 25, 2015, Satnam Singh sat in Brooklyn, carrying the weight of a nation. For India, basketball had always been a fantasy. Now, their giant son stood on the edge of history. Pick after pick went by. His name wasn't called. As the second round ticked away, hope faded. The Wizards considered him at 49, but passed. Finally, at pick 52, the Dallas Mavericks made history. With the 52nd pick in the 2015 NBA draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Satnam Singh from India. He had done it. Satnam Singh became the first Indian-born player ever drafted into the NBA. He returned home a national hero. Dubbed India's Yao Ming, a symbol of what was possible. But the fairy tale had limits. Satnam wasn't NBA ready. He joined the Mavericks Summer League, showing flashes of promise, but little consistency. Dallas assigned him to the Texas Legends in the D-League. Over 2 seasons, his minutes were sparse. His stats underwhelmed. The game felt too fast. By 2017, after disappointing Summer League performances, his contract expired. No other NBA teams came calling. Satnam's NBA career was over before it truly began. Still, he continued chasing basketball abroad. In Canada's Pro League, he played more games, but struggled to make an impact. Even with the Indian national team, his numbers lagged. A 2-year doping suspension in 2019 effectively ended his professional career. For many, that would have been the end. But Satnam wasn't done rewriting his story. In 2021, he pivoted to professional wrestling, signing with All Elite Wrestling. With his size and charisma, he found a new stage. He became India's first AEW wrestler, winning championships and building a fan base. Now in his 30s, Satnam has reinvented himself as a star beyond basketball. His path wasn't the NBA career many dreamed of, but his impact is undeniable. He broke barriers. He inspired a generation. He proved that, even from a tiny village in India, the impossible can be achieved. So why didn't Satnam succeed in the NBA? The reasons are complex. He was thrown into the league too early, skipping the crucial years of college development. He entered during the rise of small ball basketball, where 7-footers were less valued. His foot speed and athleticism couldn't match the pace of the modern game. But those shortcomings don't erase his legacy. Satnam Singh made history. He carried the hopes of a nation onto the NBA stage. He turned dreams into reality, even if only briefly. And when basketball ended, he built a new life. Proving resilience is greater than any setback. From farm chores in a tiny village to the NBA draft stage, Satnam Singh's journey remains one of the greatest underdog stories in basketball history.